Alright, so in the previous video, we talked about how we can add image textures to our lights. If you haven't watched that video, just go watch it right now. I'll put a card up here. And after you watch that video, I'm going to show you this add-on, Gobos Light Textures by Bproduction. Well, it's technically not an add-on, it's an asset collection of 149 textures for your lights. Okay, so if you scroll down, you can see those textures. And yeah, these are the categories: windows, geometric, and most importantly, these ones, the animated textures. So you have animated leaves and clouds, dust, rain, and even some animated color textures. And even when you scroll down even further, you see some of the amazing works that has been done using these textures and lights. Okay, so when you download this, you get these folders. So these are basically the textures. If you open them up, you have some JPEG textures for the images, and for the animated ones, you have the .mp4 file that is the animated version and the .jpeg image one. Okay, so you also have this .blend file, which has all these textures marked as assets that you can just add to your asset browser and just add them to your scene with just one drag and drop. So let's just go into Blender, and I'm going to show you some of these. If you don't know how to add these to your asset browser, you just go to Edit, Preferences, into your file path and asset libraries. You just add the path, the address that these are stored, these are stored on your disk. Okay, so when you add that to your asset browser and you go to the asset browser, you get these Gobos light textures, and these are all the categories. I'm going to show you, let's go Windows first. I have a very simple scene here. I've just added Suzanne and a backdrop so we can see the result of the light. And also I've put the strength of my environment to 0. I don't want to get any other light from the environment, just these ones. Okay, so let's just add this. So I'm going to just click, drag, and drop it wherever I want in my scene. And I get this. Let's bring it back, GY. And I'm going to go to my shaded view so we can actually see what's going on. Bring it down, position it where the way you want. If I go to my camera view, this is what I'm getting right now. If you want this to be bigger, you can change the spot size, but this one is, the texture itself has ended there, so you can go to the shading tab and increase the scale of the texture itself. If you want this to be bigger or smaller, and the radius amount is set to 0, so I have very sharp edges for the shadows, very sharp shadows for my objects in the scene, and very sharp texture. So if I increase this, I get softer shadows and a more subtle look. Okay, and keep in mind that we are adding these to add realism to our scene. And right now, this texture is going into the color socket in the emission node that we have here. Now, the only way that I can change the color of my light this way is by going here and changing the color. But I'm using an RGB value right now, and we don't have RGB values in nature. So this is a window, and the light that's coming through it must be something like sunlight, for example. I can go here and try to get something close to sunlight, but it's still an RGB value and it's not precise. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. And one thing that we can do with these black and white textures is that I can actually, instead of the color socket, I can put this into the strength and nothing changes here. I still get the same result. But now I have this color socket free and I can add a black body to control my color. I can put this value around 5000. It's closer to sunlight. I can put this lower if I want a warmer look, or go higher if I want a colder look. Okay, so if I crank it way high, it goes close to white, and yeah, around 50 to 100 is good. Okay, so now we saw this one. Let's see some of these animated ones, like animated leaves. I think these are the most useful. For example, the animated clouds. If I show you these, let's bring this back, and I think I need to rotate this. Yeah, so rotate this around the y-axis, get something like that. Let's bring it back, and these look cool, but the thing is that you don't see shadows of clouds like this. They are way softer and less pronounced. So if you crank the radius high, yeah, there are some variations here, but for example, something like these abstract ones may give you a better look. Okay, but these animated leaves, I think these are the best ones in this collection here, and I'm going to show you. Let's rotate these like that, and the radius amount, and it's still, I think it's still the black body, right? Yeah. Okay, so I already have those, and if I go to the camera view, I can just change the radius amount. If it's 0, I get these. The shadows are very sharp and the texture is very sharp. Just around this, yeah, that's good. Now if I hit the, let me increase the spot size. Now if I hit the play button, you can see that these are moving. Gives me a very cool animation. The frame rate is not great right now, but you can see the movement. Okay, so you can just play around with these, use different ones. There are some colored textures here. These caustics are cool, and you have some forest and leaves here. You can, these are not animated, but they still look cool for your scenes. Okay, so this is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can just go right ahead, and if you can afford this, you can just go right ahead and buy this add-on, and don't think twice about it. It's a very good add-on, and I'm sorry, collection, texture collection, and you'll thank me later. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one.